Hello everyone, my name is Trilochan. As a part of our NCERT series, we are discussing 7th class geography, our environment. In this video, we are going to take up our next chapter, air. Before taking up this topic, I just wanted to make one quick announcement. I'm going to start one platform which includes two modules, one for Telugu medium, another for English medium. These modules deal with history, geography and current affairs in general, international relations in particular. I just wanted to make one more announcement. I am writing 3 books, Indian history, India and world geography and Andhra Pradesh history. Very soon I am going to publish Andhra Pradesh history book. Coming to our topic, air. Our earth is surrounded by a huge blanket of air called atmosphere. All living beings on this earth depends on the atmosphere for their survival. Atmosphere provides us air that we breathe. Atmosphere protects us from the harmful effects of sun rays. Our earth is having livable conditions. How could it be possible? Because atmosphere maintains certain temperature. Otherwise, our earth would have been too cold to live in. And I am using the word atmosphere several times. What exactly is present in the atmosphere? That means, what is the composition of atmosphere? There are several gases present in the atmosphere. Two gases are the most abundant in the atmosphere, nitrogen and oxygen. And there are several other gases present in the atmosphere. Those gases are in lesser quantities. What are those? Carbon dioxide, hydrogen, helium, ozone, argon, etc. Apart from all these gases, tiny dust particles are also present in the atmosphere. Tiny dust particles are also present in the atmosphere. Now, take nitrogen. Nitrogen is the most abundant gas in the atmosphere. Okay. So, 78% of atmosphere is comprised of nitrogen. So, when we inhale, nitrogen enters into our lungs, but we exhale it. Plants' survival depends on this nitrogen gas, but plants do not utilize atmospheric nitrogen. There are some bacteria live in soil and roots of some plants. Those bacteria, for example, rhizobium species, convert this atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia. That is what we call nitrogen fixation. Take oxygen. 21% of the atmosphere is comprised of oxygen. Generally, animals and human beings utilize oxygen. Green plants release oxygen during the process of photosynthesis. That means utilization of oxygen by animals and human beings and release of oxygen by plants would make some kind of balance. So, this balance gets disturbed when we cut trees. So, that means trees are important to maintain oxygen content in the atmosphere. Now, come to carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, of course, 0.03% of the atmosphere is comprised of carbon dioxide. That means this much percentage of carbon dioxide is present in the atmosphere. Though it is a very less quantity, its significance is the most important. So, carbon dioxide plays a major role to maintain Earth's temperature. So, now plants generally utilize carbon dioxide during the process of photosynthesis. That means during the process of food making, and animals and human beings release carbon dioxide during exhale. So, then this utilization and the release of carbon dioxide also keeps some kind of balance in the atmosphere. This balance gets disturbed when burning of fossil fuels is more. So, fossil fuels means oil and coal. How could it maintain the Earth's temperature? Carbon dioxide creates greenhouse effect. Okay. carbon dioxide creates greenhouse effects. How could it be possible? Because it has the capacity to trap heat which radiates from the earth. That's why carbon dioxide is known as greenhouse gas. Carbon dioxide level increases when there is a burning of fossil fuels. So this level, that means when the level of carbon dioxide increases in the atmosphere, automatically the heat trapping capacity of the carbon dioxide also increases. That raises the temperature of the earth. So normally when the temperature of the earth increases, snow and ice melts down. So the snow and ice generally located, concentrated in the coldest parts of the world. This snow and ice starts melting. Then the sea level increases. When sea level increases, that causes floods. That means inundation of the low-lying areas and also the flooding of coastal regions. So organisms which are present in the coastal region slowly become extinct. So that's why carbon dioxide, though it is 0.03% in the atmosphere, it plays a significant role in the maintaining the temperature of the earth. So what is the structure of the atmosphere? Atmosphere is divided into 5 different layers. Atmosphere is divided into 5 different layers. One is, that means lowermost layer is troposphere, and the upper limit of troposphere is tropopause, and above troposphere stratosphere is there, and above this mesosphere and thermosphere, exosphere. Now look at this aeroplane, ozone, all these things. Now we are going to take up these layers one by one. Troposphere. This is the lowermost layer of the atmosphere. It extends up to almost 17 kilometers, including tropopause. In this chapter, they have mentioned 13 kilometers. Okay, but originally it fluctuates between 16 to 17 kilometers up to the upper limit of troposphere, that is tropopause. So this 17 kilometers is at equator. Why I am specifying equator, and what about poles? At poles, this troposphere extends up to 9 kilometers. This is the most important layer because it is providing the air which we are breathing. Like almost all weather phenomena occur in this layer itself. All those weather phenomena, cloud formation, rainfall, hailstorms, and fog formation, all these things are occurring in this layer, that is troposphere. And next layer is stratosphere. Stratosphere extends up to 50 kilometers. Ozone gas is present in the lower portion of the stratosphere. Okay, then here I am talking about the cloud formation in troposphere, but stratosphere is almost cloud free, but sometimes you may come across cirrus clouds as well. As it is almost cloud free, this layer is ideal for flying of aeroplanes. This ozone gas protects us from the harmful effects of the sun rays. So now take up the next layer, that is mesosphere. Mesosphere is the third layer in the atmosphere. So the mesosphere extends from 50 to 80 kilometers. When meteorites enter into this layer, these meteorites burnt down. What are these meteorites? Meteorites are small rocks present in the space. These meteorites, these small rocks, revolve around the sun. Don't get confused with asteroids. asteroids are also small rocks present in the space revolving around the sun. But these asteroids are present in between Mars and Jupiter. So that is the difference between asteroids and meteoroids. The next layer is thermosphere. Thermosphere, the name itself indicates that in this layer, temperature rises rapidly when the height increases. This layer extends between 80 kilometers to 400 kilometers. Ionosphere is a part of this thermosphere. So, what is the significance of this thermosphere? Radio transmission occurs in this layer. Radio waves transmitted from the earth and reflected back to the earth from this layer. Uppermost layer of the atmosphere is exosphere. In this chapter, clearly mentioned that exosphere as the outermost layer. In some books, they mentioned exosphere and ionosphere are part of thermosphere. In this layer, that is above 400 kilometers, thin air is present. So, this, what is that air? Air contains helium and hydrogen. This helium and hydrogen slowly moves into the space. This is the structure of the atmosphere. So, now there are two different words to differentiate between the changes in the conditions of the atmosphere. What are those two words? One is weather, another one climate. What is weather? Hour to hour or day to day changes in the condition of the atmosphere is called weather. And what is climate? The average weather condition of a given place. Average weather condition of a given place over a longer period of time is called climate. What is this longer period of time? Longer period of time means on an average of 30 years or maybe 40 years or 50 years, like this. I am talking about the changes in the atmospheric condition. What is the most important factor which brings changes? That is temperature. What is temperature? The degree of hotness and coldness of air is called temperature. So, temperature changes between day and night. Okay. So, night generally less temperature, during day it is more high temperature. So, and also it changes season to season. The high temperatures prevail during summer than winter. We were talking about the snow and ice in the coldest parts of the world. That means the distribution of temperature on this earth varies. What influences this distribution? That is insolation. What is insolation? Insolation is nothing but incoming solar energy. This insolation generally decreases from the equator towards pole. Same way, temperature, when insolation decreases towards pole, then obviously the temperature also decreases towards pole. If you take the urban areas and villages, temperature in urban areas are high than villages. What is the reason behind it? Urban infrastructure, concrete, metals, asphalt, all these things are used in the infrastructure development. These things generally absorb heat during the day and releases heat during the night. That is the reason urban areas experience more temperatures. And not only that, even overcrowded high-rise buildings also trap heat during the day. So that's the reason urban areas experience more temperatures than villages. We are talking about the atmosphere. Atmosphere is nothing but air. Air is having some kind of weight. So now take up air pressure. What is air pressure? So atmosphere, that means air has some weight. That weight of the air exerts pressure on the surface of the earth. This is what we call air pressure. Air pressure is maximum at sea level. When height increases, obviously the pressure decreases. Both temperature and pressure are inversely proportional. If you take any given area which experience high temperature, so that high temperature naturally warms the earth's surface, then the air which is present near the earth gets warmer. And when warm air goes up, naturally what I was talking that weight of the air exerts some pressure. When warm air goes up, that means warm air expands. That means molecules which are present in the warm air expands. So warm air becomes lighter. That means less denser. Slowly it goes up. When it goes up, when there is low pressure conditions would be occurring near Earth's surface. So that is low pressure condition. This low pressure condition is associated with the clouds and also wet weather. Okay, at cold region, air is a cold. Naturally, it would not expand. It exerts more pressure. Cold air sinks down. So high pressure conditions exist. High pressure conditions always associated with dry and stable weather. Naturally, this I'm talking about this high pressure and low pressure. Air moves from high pressure to low pressure. The air which moves from high pressure to low pressure is known as wind. Winds are of three types. One is permanent winds. Why do we call it as permanent wind? Because wind always blows in any one particular direction throughout the year. For example, trade winds and westerlies, easterlies. Okay, so look at this one. Easterlies blowing from east. So that's why these winds are called easterlies. Here winds are blowing from west. So that's why these winds are called westerlies. And here trade winds are also blowing from east. So these trade winds are also nothing but easterlies. But merchant sailors named these easterlies as trade winds because these winds help them to sail towards west. Okay, so these are permanent winds. What about second type of wind? Second type of wind is seasonal winds. These seasonal winds generally changes the direction season to season. This is South India. Monsoon winds changes its direction. How? Because during rainy season, monsoon blows in the southwest direction. But when winter sets in, this southwest monsoons retreat and blows quite opposite direction. Okay, that is northeast direction. So another type of wind, that is local winds. Local winds generally blow a particular time period during the day or particular time period in a year. For this, monsoon winds are example. And for this, land breeze and sea breeze. Along with that, Lu wind is also a local wind. Generally, Lu winds blow a particular time period in a year, generally during summertime in the northern plains of India. These winds are hot and dry. And what about land breeze and sea breeze? Land breeze means wind blows from land to sea. And here sea breeze means wind blows from sea to land. This phenomena occurs a particular time period in a day. Okay, so when low pressure conditions exist in the sea area, then wind blows from land to sea during night. When low pressure conditions exist in the land area, wind blows from sea to land during day. This is all about different types of winds. Another most important factor associated with the atmosphere, that is moisture. So what is moisture? when water evaporates from the land and different water bodies that become water vapor. This water vapor is nothing but moisture. Moisture present in the air is called humidity. What does it mean? When there is a high temperature, air gets warmer. Warmer air has got the capacity to hold more moisture. This warmer wind, which is having this moisture, generally becomes lighter and starts moving up. When it goes up, it cools down. After reaching certain point, that is what we call dew point, moisture laden air forms into clouds. That means this moisture in the air becomes water droplets. When moisture is present in the air, we cannot see that moisture, but we can feel or we can sense it. Generally, we sweat a lot in the humid climate. When this moisture becomes water droplets, it forms into cloud. Cloud is nothing but masses of water droplets and also some icy crystals. How could these water droplets and ice crystals remain in this cloud? In the beginning of this chapter, I was talking about tiny dust particles present in the atmosphere. These tiny dust particles hold these water droplets and icy crystals. Tiny dust particles acts like a chair or a cushion so that these water droplets firmly fix to these dust particles. When these water droplets become too heavy to float in the air, all these water droplets come down to the earth in the form of precipitation. So, when this precipitation come down to the earth in liquid form, we call it as rain. A rain is of three types. One is convectional rainfall. So, look at this picture. Here, warm air is rising. Warm air has the capacity to hold moisture. That means water evaporates in the warmer conditions. So, it has the capacity to hold more moisture. This moisture laden air rises naturally, it cools down after reaching certain point and then it condenses to form clouds. These clouds are nothing but cumulonimbus clouds in the convectional rainfall. This type of rainfall occurs in the tropical zone. That means the region between Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Equatorial region experiences rainfall, this convectional rainfall, almost every day in a year. Equatorial region means between 0 degrees and 5 degrees. Sometimes it extends up to 10 degrees in some areas, and other regions also experience convectional rainfall, but it is not everyday rainfall. Come to second type of rainfall, that is orographic rainfall. So when moist air on the land region, moist air obstructed by the mountain ranges, moist air rises up and it cools down and condenses to form clouds. Windward side of the mountain gets more rainfall and the leeward side receives less rainfall. Third type of rainfall is cyclonic rainfall. This here clearly you can notice that cold air and warm air. When cold air and warm air collides, a front forms. Warm air naturally rises up because it is lighter. Then it creates some kind of low pressure here. Generally, air moves from high pressure to low pressure, and this cold air rushes to fill this low pressure region. And this is a cyclonic rainfall. This cyclonic spin brings the heavy rainfall, movement of air reaches maximum speed in the cyclonic rainfall because of the spin. When the precipitation is in the liquid form, we call it as rain, but there are other types of precipitation is also occur. So what is that? Sleet type of precipitation, hailstorm, hail and snow, these are all different forms of precipitation. This groundwater generally recharged because of this rainfall. Rainfall brings us a fresh water, and when there is a more rain, it causes flooding. And when there is less rainfall, creates drought conditions. There are different types of instruments through which we can measure temperature, pressure, wind direction, and the amount of rainfall. That is a thermometer. It measures the temperature. Barometer measures the atmospheric pressure. Wind vane shows the direction of the wind, and rain gauge measures the amount of rainfall. So I was talking about the temperature. The standard unit to measure temperature is degree Celsius. Who invented this? Anders Celsius. If you take the Celsius scale, water freezes at 0 degree and water boils at 100 degrees. So I was talking about the air pressure. So there is no air on the moon. That means there is no pressure exists on the moon. This is all about air. In the next video, we come up with another topic. Thank you so much.